In case you haven't guessed, America's no best. We love explaining what's best for you, even if we ain't got no clue. AMERISPLAINING with Walter. Hey!
Welcome to AMERISPLAINING with Walter. And I'm your host, broadcast legend Walter Brohahahaha. And this is the inaugural episode of the AMERISPLAINING with Walter podcast. And I even have a title for the first episode. It's called She's Margie, I'm Just Walter. I sure have a lot of AMERISPLAINing to do, so let's get started, shall we? Now it's off to the podcast. Before we get too far into it, I just want to tell you that right now I'm sitting in my comfy lawn chair on my comfy veranda at my comfy cabin beside this comfy lake that I won from fellow broadcast legend Walter Cronkite in a poker game many, many decades ago. And if you believe that, you'll probably believe that we were all so drunk that when Cronkite lost the hand and he owed me 75 smackers, which in 1965 for a rookie like me was a week's take home, he said, "I can't pay, Walter, but I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. You see that lake over there?" I said, "Yep." He says, "She's all yours. I'll sign all the papers in the morning." And that's the way it is, Walter. So I wake up the next morning, and what do you know? Cronkite's caught the first transport over to Nam. And so I got this lake that I have no proof of ownership for, and I can't sell the cottage because I can't move the lake. And the irony of the whole situation is that the most trusted man in America turned out to be a first-class bullshitter. But we did, however, remain steadfast friends right till the end. And by the end, I mean the Carter administration. Oh. As previously indicated, this is the inaugural episode of AMERISPLAINIng with Walter. And you're gonna have to excuse me because sometimes I get back into like news delivery mode, and that's not really necessary. But if I didn't do that, people wouldn't listen to me. I found that out very, very early in life. And after a large amount of mental deliberation, I decided that the subject of this first episode would be one that's probably already been done to death. And you're probably asking yourself, why do a subject that's already been done to death? And the reason, of course, is because in today's political climate, everything is being done to death. Comments on Trump's latest comments. Done to death! But it all boils down to one unignorable truth. That Shakespeare's correct when he directs Hamlet to say, "Forsooth, the play's the thing, and it's been done to death!" Good thing I don't have many neighbors. And all these comments get spread, Gateway Pundit, Fox News, Tucker Carlson, etc., to the point where our politics is reduced to really bad performance art. And I mean really bad performance art. Marshall McLuhan was correct when he said, the medium is the message, because nobody cares about policy anymore. They care more about who's winning the Twitter wars or the truth wars or the X wars. In my opinion, if you're running for president of the United States, of the most powerful nation on earth that has a pant load of nuclear weapons, I don't think winning a Twitter war is the flex you think it is. In the Trump-Harris debate, the big issue was, are the mics going to be on or are the mics going to be off? And when are the mics going to be on and when are the mics going to be off? Can you imagine if we harken back to the 1960 Kennedy-Nixon debates, what issues would the two camps be negotiating? The Kennedy camp would say, of course, I believe both candidates should shave within 6 hours of hitting the stage. To which the Nixon camp would reply, we live in America, a free country. So we believe that it should be our choice whether to shave within 6 hours of hitting the stage or not. our candidate, Richard Milhouse Nixon, will definitely not be told when to shave or when not to shave. And we all know how that turned out. In a debate that most historians believe that Nixon probably more than held his own and probably won, 64 years later, the only thing that anybody remembers about the debate is that he looked shitty on TV. A lot of people thought they were watching Red Skelton do a Freddy the Freeloader sketch. Maybe they were. Maybe he was. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was the first time that modern mass media, aka broadcast television, affected the outcome of a presidential election. Probably not the sole reason that Kennedy squeezed in by a hair, but I think we can safely say that it contributed to tipping the scales in Kennedy's direction. Yeah, that and a little bit of skullduggery from his father Joseph. And his money. And if you really want to get down into the weeds, the election of 1840, featuring William Harrison, was a real cracker. His campaign slogan was, "Tippecanoe and Tyler too," because William Harrison won the Battle of Tippecanoe just prior to the start of the War of 1812. And the Tyler II portion refers to his vice presidential pick, John Tyler, who we all know ascended to the presidency about a month after Harrison's inauguration. Of course, that was an era where it was considered quite gauche to actually go out and campaign for yourself. So the road to the presidency heavily relied on a comm shop consisting of 3 mule skinners and a bottle of whiskey. And a bunch of quill pens. Because at that time, there were very few newspapers and very few printing presses. No railroads, no whistle-stop tours, no telegraph, and of course, no fact-checkers. I'm trying to make a point here, and the point is, time marches on, and after almost 200 years, we still remember Tippecanoe and Tyler too. But other than that campaign slogan, I doubt that anyone could actually tell you what the issues were, or why they actually voted for William Harrison. And that, my friends, is probably the only thing that era has in common with this era. However, we must not forget the differences. In all my years of covering presidential elections, I have not seen so much candidational malarky. That's right, I'm letting the cat out of the bag, saying the quiet part out loud. Candidational malarky. Sorry, I slipped into a news reading mode there. Yeah, where was I? Oh yeah, candidational malarky. And that's a phrase that kind of illustrates the point, because you're all sitting there going, what the hell is candidational malarky? Well, I'll tell you, it's a phrase I've used about 5 times so far in the last minute and a half. It's a phrase I just made up, but it's also a phrase that has great potential to become a meme. Don't ask me how to spell it, but all you influencers out there, I'm throwing it into the public domain, and I expect it to become, that's right, a slogan worthy of affecting the outcome of an election. Let me put it this way, it's not any worse than the ones that are out there now, spewed forth by the usual suspects in the MAGA crowd. But now we're going to take a little break and we'll continue the conversation about candidational malarkey on the other side.
AMERISPLAINING with Walter. Hey!
We're back. So exactly where does that leave us, and where do we go from here? Where a senator bringing a snowball into the Senate during a Washington snowstorm thinks that it's proof that climate change is a hoax. Of course, he's not running for re-election because he passed away last year at age 141. But if he was, I would call this little bit of theater candidational malarkey. A species of malarkey rarely practiced outside the realm of politics. And certainly not the malarkey practiced by pundits, influencers, surrogates, supporters, or strategists, sycophants, or political boffins who can be found roaming the wilds of cable news. For example, one of the premier practitioners of candidational malarkey just happens to be the Margie referenced in the episode title, the Congresswoman from Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, I use her as a representative example because her particular brand of stupid stands out among, or shall I say above, the cesspool of examples that I could draw on at a moment's notice. As this election season starts winding down, let's go right to the top. But I don't mean Donald Trump, because that's been done to death! No, I'm talking about the newest player in the game, Republican vice presidential candidate J.D. Vance, who was selected to be the friend of the poor and the downtrodden by a bunch of billionaires. A lot of clips surface from the past. You know, everyone has stuff they'd like to kind of forget, present company included. So to me, this is the gold standard. Vance's Haitian hide your pets thing. And I'm not going to go through the whole thing because I know we're all familiar with it. But I will run down the rules that makes this a successful poster child, so to speak, for candidational malarky, because this is very, very important. So listen closely. Rule number 1, you must be a candidate for something. You can start out at the lower level. As a matter of fact, it gives you lots of practice time. And of course, we all know the practice makes perfect. Refining the techniques while you're running for school board will definitely come in handy when you decide to move up the ladder and attempt a Senate run. Rule number 2, identify your target audience. That's the easiest way to come up with the stupidest, dumbest, most egregious thing that you want to post. And always remember you want to appeal to their sense of victimhood. Because as the old expression goes, victimhood is clickdomhood. And when your victimhood goes viral, it becomes part of the daily news cycle. And if your victimhood survives enough news cycles, it will become a meme. And becoming a meme is just one small step away from being a part of popular culture, which of course is the goal. Rule number 3. No matter how stupid and ridiculous you become, when all your talking points are proven to be stupid and ridiculous, you must remain a believer. And without question, you stand by what you said. Never, 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 never apologize. Because after all, you're the patriot. And like Marjorie Taylor Greene, inside that bad-built body of yours beats the purest heart. And finally, Rule 4, which of course is a corollary of Rule 3. And that is, never ever take responsibility. Embrace the blame game. Blame it on the lefties, the libtards, and all the Justice Department weaponizers. But if that doesn't work, there's always exuberant constituents, co-workers, fire regulations, bad legal advice, AI, rogue campaign volunteers, and let's not forget the Constitution. And don't forget to leave room under the bus for some of your close friends and loved ones. So there you have it, candidational malarky in a nutshell. So before I sign off, I have a little bit of a surprise. I was able to corral the Chagrin Falls Glee Club and male chorus to help me perform a little ditty that I found in a dusty book on a dusty shelf at our little dusty library here in Chagrin Falls, North Dakota. It was a book of traditional North Dakota sea shanties. And since the Glee Club and chorus is always looking for new material, I thought I'd give it a shot. So I randomly chose a piece of music called The Ballad of Steveston O'Bannion, a traditional sea shanty that was popular about 135 years ago. But surprisingly, this sea shanty kind of fits in with today's subject. This may or may not be a coincidence. I'll leave that determination up to you. So in a desperate attempt to go viral, I now give you the Chagrin Falls Glee Club and male chorus performing The Ballad of Steveston O'Bannion. Here we go, boys.
He's a weedy prick, that Steveston O'Bannion, such a weedy prick. Were he eats plates full of ribs while owning the lids. He's a weedy prick, that's easy to see.
And right on cue, here's where I make the big entrance. Oh, There once was a young lad who'd never say die.
When caught orating,
The spittle did fly. He grew up believing there's money in lies. So after the money went
he searched and found someone he thought couldn't fail,
who looked like a carrot that had swallowed a whale, with hands like a goldfish and the brain of a snail, to run for the presidency. They both hit the road where they spewed bogus facts at coast-to-coast rallies
from LA to Jax,
found millions of rubes
to buy MAGA hats, and the press became the enemy.
After losing the election, they wanted it tossed,
so they told all their followers the other guy lost.
And Steveston O'Bannion used his own podcast to thumb his nose at reality, spreading doo-doo for a hefty fee. He helped spread the big lie all over the land. His ravings went viral, there was such demand. But it didn't take long till Eeyore played his hand, and off to the slammer went he. To a country club slammer went he.
He's a wee ditty prick, that's Steveston O'Bannion. He's a wee ditty prick, were he.
He wears
6 layers of shirt to cover his skirt. He's a wee ditty prick, that's easy to see.
Now here come the ladies. We're off to the big finale.
He is a prick, a ditty prick, that O'Bannion. He takes a cake for prickish behavior.
He plates tolerance
while he's owning the limbs. He's a wee ditty prick, that's easy to see. That's easy to see.
This has been the inaugural episode of AMERISPLAINING with Walter. I'm broadcast legend Walter Brohahahaha saying, see you next time. Now it's off to the end credits. AMERISPLAINING with Walter is written and produced by Blaine Selker for Ancient Sun Studios. AMERISPLAINING with Walter is recorded by Blaine Selker, who's pissed because Walter has a better broadcast voice. It should have been called AMERISPLAINING with Blaine. All music and songs written and recorded by Blaine Selker. Lyrics by Blaine Selker. Edited by Blaine Selker. Mixed by Blaine Selker. And not to blow my own horn. Hey! Give it a rest, will ya? The give a shitter meter's barely moving. And I think we can all agree is that the name Blaine Selker has been done to death!
Shave, I still ran on to 20 or